Okay, finally it's working. Secondly, while I was streaming the last event, or the countdown for the press release, the Xbox Series S actually came out. And yeah, a lot of stuff for that came out. I actually didn't see the... I'm just reacting, or not really reacting, but just looking at the world premiere. Which is kind of a reaction, but you can't see me. Yeah, so I see the design of the Series S, but for some reason, why is that black circle at the top of the Series S? And the button is sideways instead of like horizontal or vertical. It's weird. It's the smallest Xbox ever, 60% smaller than the Series X. Custom NVMe SSD, of course. Incredibly fast load times. Seamless game switching. Next-gen performance. And better with Xbox. Honestly, I was considering... I'm having like a hard time between getting a PS5 or the new Xbox Series S, but I'll probably review for everyone, so, yeah. It's probably going to be the Series S. Hopefully I can get, like, one of both. Hopefully I can get, like, one of both the Series S and the Xbox, not... Are you... But yeah, so let's talk about the event. So, I had Snapdrop open. Let's go to Apple. So, yes, we have the Apple event right here. And something interesting is that this thing, this circle, or this logo, it's actually AR. So if I tap on it, nothing happens on here because this device does not support USDZ files, nor is the CPU on this thing AR compatible. So let's get out to Airplay, which I think I figured out the issue with Airplay last time. It's because we were using a Wi-Fi extender that absolutely crippled our Wi-Fi. Like, you expect a Wi-Fi extender to, increase the range of our Wi-Fi? No, it crippled our Wi-Fi significantly. So, we removed that, and now the internet speeds are way better. So, there we go, it's instant. If auto rotate, there we go. So, if I go over to Apple, or this is support.google.com, if I go to Apple, you can see right here, we have the event, and if I tap on it, we got the AR, but right here, the object, you see right here, 915, and it goes back to this Apple logo. Now, the blue color, okay, so last year's Apple invite had this logo. This logo was all the colors for the iPhone 11. This logo looks like the navy blue color for the iPhone 12 Pro. That's what I'm getting from this. Yeah, this is most likely the navy blue color for the iPhone 12 Pro. But we'll see. So, navy blue color for the iPhone 12 Pro, that's what I'm getting from this. And also, it says right here, join us from Apple Park. So this is of course, a virtual event because, of course, COVID-19. You can't go to any physical events. But yeah, of course, this is going to be a virtual event, most likely from the Steve Jobs Theater. So, what should we expect from here? Well, first off, let me go over to the iPhone 12. So, there should be 4 models of the iPhone 12. The first one is, well, the iPhone 12. It should have a 5... Okay, so there's a couple different models of it. This is basically all the models. So the smallest one's going to have a 5.4-inch display with the A14 Bionic CPU, 4 gigs of RAM. It's going to have a 5.4-inch display, like I said. All of them are going to have a square, or more like flat edges, instead of the more rounded like we currently have. It's going to have, the 5.4-inch one's going to have the 5.4-inch display, of course. It's going to be OLED instead of LCD, like on the iPhone 11. It's going to have the A14 Bionic CPU, 4 gigs of RAM, sub-6 5G, and the dual cameras, same from the iPhone 11, most likely. Just some small improvements. Then the iPhone 12 Max, it's just a bigger version of the 12, and it's going to have, of course, the OLED display, and the 12, the smaller one's going to probably be around $600, $700. The 12 Max, or 6.1-inch one, the regular 6.1-inch 12, is going to be $700 to $800, so somewhere around that range. Then there's going to be another 6.1-inch one, a 6.1-inch iPhone 12 Pro. This one's going to have the same A14 Bionic, same 6.1-inch display, of course, but it's probably going to be 120 hertz this time. It's probably going to have the LiDAR scanner. It's probably going to have a better camera, of course. It's going to have a better camera, of course. It's going to have the navy blue color, of course. It's going to have millimeter wave 5G this time. Same A14 Bionic, but 6 gigs of RAM instead of 4. And it's going to be around $1,000 to $1,100. Finally, the 12 Pro Max, it's going to have the 6.7-inch display, millimeter wave 5G, of course, A14, 6 gigs of RAM, similar stuff. This is the first time the 6 gigs of RAM is going to be on an iPhone this year. So that's the iPhone 12. Now the iPads. So iPad Air 4 is most likely going to be released at this event. I saw this concept last night. It's very good right here. This is basically the best look we have of the iPad Air 4. So, this is basically the entire design of the Air 4. It's going to have, most likely, probably an extra gold color. It's going to have probably no flash, but it's going to have a smaller camera, 8 megapixels, most likely. It's going to have a similar design to the 2018 iPad Pros. It's going to have a smart connector, of course, on the back, so you can use it with the Magic Keyboard. It'll have support for the 2nd gen Apple Pencil. It'll have USB-C. It'll have either an A13 or an A14 chip. We don't know yet. It'll probably most likely have either 3 or 4 gigs of RAM. Again, we don't know yet. And the price of it should be around $500 to $700, somewhere in that range. It's going to be just a more affordable version of the 2018 iPad Pro. There we go. So that's the iPad Air 4. Now the 8th generation iPad. And I got a notification again. If you have $500, buy this iPhone. Which one is it? Pretty sure it's the 10R, but yeah. Anyway, the 8th generation iPad will have just a similar design to the 7th gen iPad currently, but it'll have a A12, most likely an A12 chip inside instead of the A10 currently. And that's it. That's it. That's all That's most likely all they're just going to change. Just a faster processor, that's it. So yeah, that's the 8th gen iPad. Don't think that really deserves a press release or an event, but yep. Now the Apple Watch Series 6. Most I don't know how to say it, but anyway. So the Series 6 is most likely going to have the Series 6 is most likely going to have, of course, faster processor. It's of course going to have a faster processor. It's probably going to have new case options, new bands, the W4 chip instead of the W3 currently in the S5 CPU. It's going to have it's going to be mostly just faster. It's probably going to have new health improvements. It's going to be a small update, but yeah. Now, Macs. Now, earlier this year, Apple said that the Apple Silicon Macs are going to be released by the end of this year, or the first Apple Silicon Macs are going to be released by the end of this year, and it looks like we're going to get that with a 12-inch. Yeah, we're gonna get this with a ARM or a Apple Silicon 12-inch MacBook. So yes, the 12-inch MacBook is coming back, and I'm gonna check on chat. So the 12-inch MacBook is coming back. Yes, so the 12-inch MacBook is going to come back this year, but this time with most likely an A14X Bionic CPU. An A14X Bionic CPU. That is insanely fast. Like, seriously, name me another laptop that's going to have a 5nm CPU. Name me another laptop that's going to have that. It's going to be insanely fast. It's going to have most likely just one USB-C port, probably the 4th gen Butterfly keyboard. Yes, the Butterfly keyboard is coming back. And it's going to most likely have maybe thinner bezels than this. And it's going to have a 720p camera instead of the 480p one currently in the 12-inch MacBook. But it's going to have the Butterfly keyboard, which I'm honestly kind of okay with. The first two Butterfly keyboards were definitely the worst. The 1st gen Butterfly keyboard failed all the time. The 2nd gen, of course, failed all the time. The 3rd gen, it was significantly less failing on the 3rd gen, but there was a lot of failures with the 3rd gen Butterfly keyboard. But the 4th gen, there was really no major complaints of the 4th gen Butterfly keyboard. In fact, if I would recommend you to get an Intel Mac, the best Intel Mac I would recommend is probably a 2019 MacBook Pro or a 2019 MacBook Air. So, that's the MacBook, the 12-inch ARM MacBook. But what about the MacBook Pro? Well, the MacBook Pro is going to get an update as well, with a 13-inch ARM MacBook Pro. So this one's actually going to get most likely a redesign as well, and most likely with thinner bezels as well. It's probably going to have the same 13-inch display, but it's just going to be thinner bezels. It'll most likely still have the Magic Keyboard. It'll have, of course, Apple Silicon. It'll probably not be an A-series chip, probably like their own custom silicon for just the MacBook, the Macs. Okay, I can't speak. Okay, just for the Macs. There'll probably just be like, two different CPUs. Like this one's for the MacBook, or this one's going to be for the every other Mac besides the Mac Pro and iMac Pro, and the Mac Pro and iMac Pro are going to have the like a more higher end CPU. Anyway, this one's going to have a redesign, 13-inch display still, Magic Keyboard, of course. That's in the current one. It's going to have the Apple Silicon. It's actually both the 13-inch MacBook Pro and the ARM 12-inch MacBook are both going to get cheaper. So the ARM 12-inch MacBook is going to be $799, $800 instead of the previous $1,300. That's a huge change. Honestly, if it's $800, I might actually get it. I might actually get the $800 12-inch MacBook. And the 13-inch MacBook Pro, the current one is $1,299. The new one's going to be most likely $1,099. The way that they're going to be cheaper is, of course, because of Apple Silicon. Apple has to always pay Intel to put CPUs in their Macs. So, by making their own silicon, they don't have to pay Intel. You just put the silicon in, boom. But there's also going to be a Intel version of this 13-inch MacBook Pro as well, alongside the Apple Silicon one. So if you're not ready for Apple Silicon, don't worry, you can get Intel. For some reason. Anyway, now another one is a 16-inch MacBook Pro. A 2020 16-inch MacBook Pro. So, the 2020 16-inch MacBook Pro will most likely still be Intel, not Apple Silicon yet for this one. It's probably going to take a while for this one to get Apple Silicon. But this one should have a faster 10th generation Intel CPUs. It'll also probably have the new Navi AMD graphics, which are actually being used in the current iMacs. Yes, the Navi GPUs are used in the iMacs. So the iMacs are actually kind of decent for gaming. Yes, they're using gaming GPUs in the iMacs now. Anyway, yes, the 16-inch MacBook Pro is going to get faster 10th gen Intel CPUs. This is actually not going to be released at the September event, most likely. Probably be released in like November. But yeah, whatever. Now, AirPods Studio. This is a lot of stuff. AirPods Studio. AirPods Studio have been rumored for a long time now. It looks like we're finally going to get them at the event. So, these things are going to be apparently similar to like Bose 700. I don't know how those headphones are like, but it's going to be similar to Bose 700. It's going to have probably a faster H1X CPU, and just it's going to be some over-ear headphones like that. It's going to be like $350, which is not bad. Now, Apple TV. It's a 6th gen Apple TV. This one's going to have just the smallest improvement out of probably all of them. Just the A14, or not the A14, the A12X CPU. Just that's it. That's basically it. So, yeah.